Okay guys, today we're going to make a cheap and cheerful pudding that you could make for your family. So it's going to be a fruit base and then a cake top, a bit like a cobbler. If I'm honest, I'm not 100% sure what a cobbler is, but similar to what I've sort of seen online. So we're going to start with a tin of fruit in syrup. These are peach slices in syrup, but you can get all sorts of other flavours, and I'm going to show you this version and then another version using pears afterwards. So we're going to put the whole tin of peaches and the syrup into a dish like this, an oven-proof dish. This one is, what size is this? This is, oh, I thought I'd written it down, I haven't. I think this is 16 by 20 centimetres. You can go smaller, but you can't really go bigger, because otherwise your cake layer is going to be too thin. Okay, so the whole tin of peaches plus the syrup goes in, and we're going to take a knife and just cut the peach slices into chunks randomly, because the whole slice is going to be a little much in this. So not really small, just slightly smaller chunks. Okay, now the syrup is giving us the sugar in the base. What I've noticed is you can get, like, this was a Morrison's bog standard one, which was £1.20. You can get cheaper. You absolutely can. The cheaper ones, you need to add a bit more sugar to. One sec. The syrup needs thickening. It's going to be too runny as it is. So what we need is, I've got a little dish here, and we need some corn flour. You're going to take 1 tablespoon, one level tablespoon of corn flour, and put it into your dish. You're going to add to that 1 tablespoon, if you can get it, of sugar. If you're using the cheaper slices, maybe 2 tablespoons of sugar. And then you need to take some of the syrup, and you're going to mix that in to make something called a slurry, which sounds disgusting. You just mix that together to make a smooth paste, which we call slurry. If you tried to just put the corn flour in straight away, it would go all lumpy, and then you'd end up with a lumpy sauce. So we create this slurry. And then we can mix that in, and it'll go in a lot more evenly. We're going for like peach Melba vibes. So to this, that's my oven preheating. To this, I'm going to add 100 grams of frozen raspberries. Use fresh raspberries. You can use any frozen fruit you like. You don't actually have to add frozen fruit. If you wanted to, you could use more peaches. Just drain the syrup from the second can. So you'd only include the syrup from one can, and the other can you'd just take the peach slices out and throw away the syrup. Okay, so make sure that's in evenly. And that is our base done. Put that to one side and get something to wipe this down. Okay. Whoops. Next we have our butter. So I've measured out my butter, I've weighed it out. I'm now going to microwave this for about 30 seconds to get it to melt. Everyone's is going to be slightly different, depends on your microwave. We don't want it 100% melted, we want it literally just melted. So you still want to see, when you take it out of the microwave, you still want to see some lumps in there. Okay, so it looks like this. Got lumps in there, and we're just gonna use a spoon to push it up against the sides and give it a good mix, and that's the last little bit will melt. But it should look cloudy. We're not looking for clarified butter. We want it only just melted. That's pretty perfect. Here I have my sugar, and I'm going to just double check that you're in focus. So we're going to add the butter to the sugar. I'm going to use a whisk that together. Crack in our egg. Just that in. And then we're going to use some almond extract to flavour this. You can use vanilla, it's absolutely fine, but I want a nice almondy flavour. So I'm going to put in, if you want a very mild almondy flavour, do 1/4 teaspoon. If you want a strong almondy flavour, do 1/2 teaspoon. It's up to you. But we're going to whisk that in. Okay, we've then got self-raising flour, and to this I'm going to add 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. Because we're doing like an all-in-one method, we need a bit of extra raising agent. We need a bit of extra rise. Okay, we're not going to whisk that in. We're going to mix it in very carefully with a spatula. So, flour goes in. If it's quite lumpy, you can sieve it in, but if it's not, don't bother. Go around the outside and then gently mix it in. You can over mix it, you can under mix it. So we're looking for no lumps, but as soon as there's no lumps, we're going to stop. Okay, that's done. Stop now. Okay. take a couple of spoons and we're just gonna dollop it on. You're gonna need to try and make this even. It's not gonna be perfect. So you see what I mean when I say you can go for a smaller dish, but you're not going to be going for a bigger one. Okay. To this, we are going to sprinkle over the top some flaked almonds. This is completely optional, but I think it makes it taste much better and it gives you a bit of a crunch. Oh, just spilled those everywhere. Bit of a crunch over the top. Okay, we're going to pop this in the oven till it's all risen, golden brown, and when you test it in the middle with a skewer, it comes out clean. When you test it, you are going to have to make sure you just put it into the cake, not into the fruit at the bottom. So that was option number 1. Here is option number 2, which is pears. So this is tinned pears again. 1 whole tin in syrup and a second tin where I've drained the syrup and just put the pears in. So again, you can just give them a bit of a chop randomly. Doesn't need to be anything perfect. Just so they sit a bit better. Okay. And again, we're going to make our slurry. I'm literally going to use the same dish again. So we've got our 1 tablespoon of corn flour. And this time I'm going to do 1 tablespoon of soft light brown sugar, which is going to give us a slightly richer, more treacly flavour. Not deeply, just a little bit more. Take some of the syrup. Not a bit of pear, thank you. Just the syrup. And then we're going to mix that all together. I'm doing it with this spoon. Makes absolutely no sense. Get a teaspoon. Make the slurry. And then mix that in. Okay, done. I'm going to put this to one side. What is that? A leaf or something. Put that to one side, because to this we're going to add some ginger. So this is stem ginger in syrup. I always have some of this in the cupboard. It is absolutely delicious. If you want to make this without, you can. You don't have to go out and buy stem ginger in syrup, not at all. But it's really, really sort of rich and warm and yummy. So we're just gonna cut this one chunk into thin slices. And we can stack it up and go back the other way. We're just going to roughly chop it. Nothing dramatic. Then we can add it to our pears. Hands are very sticky now. And give it a good mix in. We don't want it all in a lump. Perfect. Done with my chopping board. So again, we've got our sugar here. This time, again, like I said before, we're not using white caster sugar. We're using light, soft, light brown sugar, which has got a little bit more molasses in it, which is going to give us a richer flavour. This pear one's more sort of autumn than summer. I've melted my butter again, so there's still lumps in it. It's not completely melted. It's only just melted. It's not hot. Give that a good mix. Get those last few lumps. It's still a bit lumpy, but it'll be fine. That goes in. Give a little whisk. And then we're going to add our egg. Okay, now it's time to think about our flavours a little bit more. So we've got our flour here. To this, I'm going to add a teaspoon of ground ginger. This is a ½ teaspoon measurement. And about a ½ teaspoon of cinnamon, because I'm not actually looking for a cinnamony flavour, I just want that sort of warmth. We're going to add our ½ teaspoon of baking powder to give us a bit of extra lift. and give that all a mix together. So this is going to be really spicy. Quite strong spice. You can of course half the spices if you want. I like things quite heavily spiced. So we're going to add flour and our spices to the bowl. Actually washed my spatula since the last time I used it, but it'll be fine. And we're going to gently mix this in. Now this is looking slightly too thick this time. So obviously a slightly lighter egg. I'm going to add the teeniest splash of milk just to loosen it up a little bit. You're going to have to use your professional judgment. We don't want it runny, we want it spoonable. That's about right. Okay. That'll do, pig. So we're going to take our 2 spoons and we're going to try and evenly lay this on the top. All of these bits. There's definitely not enough cake here to throw any away, or to leave the bowl with any cake mix in it. There we go. Right, to the top of this, again this is optional, but I'm going to add a decent sprinkling of demerara sugar. And then I'm going to pop this one into the oven. Okay guys, so it's come out the oven. I've tested it with a skewer, you can see in the middle, and it's come out clean. So I know it's cooked right through to the middle. Yes, it's all bubbled up around the outside. That's absolutely fine. It's not the prettiest, but it's absolutely fine. The pear one is still cooking, so I can't bring that one out right now. But you can serve this hot with some cream or some custard or some ice cream. Personally, I don't like hot fruit, so I'd leave it to go cold and then I'd have it with a nice dollop of whipped cream. But it is so adaptable. This one obviously is peach, raspberry and almond. You could just do peach with vanilla sponge on the top. You can buy tinned strawberries, so you could do like a strawberry base and then a vanilla sponge. You can buy tinned rhubarb, so you could do like a rhubarb and ginger or a plain rhubarb. You can get sliced apples in tins, so you could do like an apple base with raisins would be really nice, and then you could make a cinnamon sponge to go on the top. Once you've got the basics, you can do this in so many different ways, and it's just like I say, it's a really cheap, cheerful, nice little pudding to have on a weekend that you can make for your family. It's a bit easier than a crumble. And it's made from things which you just have in the cupboard. You don't have to put in the stem ginger. You don't have to do the flaked almonds over the top. These are just optional extras to make it how you like it. All right, guys, well, I hope you have a go and I hope you enjoy.